There are certainly times looking back in my life where I've been in that state of confusion, kind of bewilderment, like, Lord, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to turn left or right? Or, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you're in one of those places right now where you just wish God could do like skywriting and tell you what to do, or you're just desperately searching for an answered prayer, like, Lord, I need you to intervene in my marriage, or intervene with my children, or intervene with our finances or our health, or whatever it is, right? And you're like desperate for God's touch, or desperate for a word of guidance from God, something along that line. Does that sound familiar? Well, here's what I've learned. It's not my most favorite thing to do, I have to be totally honest, but I have learned that there are times when prayer alone isn't quite enough. It's prayer combined with fasting. Yes, now don't turn this off yet. Listen to the rest of this. Again, I said this isn't my favorite thing to do. I'm just being honest. But there have been a few times in my life where I was that desperate. It's like, Lord, I need to hear from you. I need a breakthrough from you, Lord. And so I can remember one distinct time. This was probably like 15 years ago. I desperately needed guidance from God in a certain area. I was really troubled. And so I fasted and prayed for 3 days. Now for me, I chose a complete just water fast. That's all I had is water for 3 days. And I waited and I prayed and I waited and I prayed, and I was expecting to hear from God, pretty quickly. I've learned that God usually waits to the last minute to reveal something to you. Anyway, about the last hour of this 3-day fast, as I was just waiting on God and crying out to him and praying, I finally had like a vision from God, and it made it super clear what I was supposed to do. And it was right. The guidance turned out to be totally correct. Now, I don't know what you're in search of. Maybe you're in search of an answer to a prayer for healing for someone in your family, or maybe you're looking for that counsel, or a change in your marriage because it seems to be falling apart, or whatever it is. But maybe it's time to not just pray, but also enter a time of fasting. I'm reminded of a section in Ezra, the book of Ezra in the Bible, and chapter 8, where the Israelites needed to travel through enemy territory, and they were fearful. And so they not only prayed, but they fasted as well. And then Ezra writes, after that fast, he writes, the Lord heard our entreaty, and he brought them through that land safely. So, what kind of fast could you consider? It could be that God's calling you to a water fast only. That's all you have is water for a couple of days or something. Or maybe it's giving up a meal, for a whole week in a row, just like one meal a day or something. Or maybe it's just cutting out all sugar from your diet for 2 weeks. Or I don't know what it could be for you. It might not even be a food fast. Maybe that's not even healthy for you. Maybe God's saying, hey, just give up all media for 3 days, or whatever it might be. The point is you're saying, Lord, I am that desperate to hear from you. I'm willing to give up something, maybe even be a little uncomfortable, because that is how desperate I am to receive a touch from you, to receive a word from you. Give it a try. Prayer and fasting.